Hello everybody and welcome to Evil Ted Live here on twitch.tv/EvilTedSmith. In today's episode, we're going to make foam boot covers for costumes and cosplay. In this particular video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a pattern off these shoes to make foam covers. And most people like to buy a shoe and just glue foam onto it and just use it as your cosplay shoe. But usually when doing cosplay, you want to have shoes you're comfortable with, and these your shoes have been properly broken in. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make covers that are fit on this and will be removable. So you actually want to make foam pieces. I'm going to show you how to go about making them and putting them on a shoe and how they can come off a shoe without making them permanent. So you can make slip-on foam covers for your shoes. So if you guys are ready to get started, I know I am. So when making patterns for shoes, I have, of course, both the shoes we need to make patterns with today, but I only need one because what we do is going to make a pattern, we're just going to flip it. So with that, I'm going to start with just the right shoe. And of course we have our foil. I'm going to start to cover this with duct tape. Now duct tape is relatively thick and wide. I'm going to do it for a couple of pieces, but I'm going to cutting thinner strips because I'm going to have to do a lot of detail work. And when I'm pushing the tape on, I definitely want to try to burnish into the shape. I can see the sole of the shoe. I want to make sure I get that in there. To get some more detail, this is what I like to do. I just cut thinner strips. Now, with the thinner strips, I can do a little bit more curved detail work. So at that point, I'm going to make a line that's going to come around my straight edge. Again, flexible ruler. I can't preach these things enough. It's great to have these. If you guys want to know where to get these, I have this on my shopping list. Again, this this peak here, I can tell you right now, this is going to definitely have this is going to have to be cut for sure. Making my registration marks. Now we label these things. So I'm just going to put a big right on this. Put an R. Right. And then it's the top. Top. And this is the sides. Since the side is all connected, I'm just going to label this side. A big R. And put heel. Even though it seems pretty apparent that when you're cutting pieces apart, you want to label things. And I speak from experience because when you start making stuff, and if you're working quickly, you'll cut this all apart and you'll be like, what part is this? So I'm really obsessive about labeling things. So even though this is the heel, you're like, oh, I remember that. But it's good just to, now that you realize you're cutting the heel into two pieces, take that step and put one and two. So I know exactly where that's going to go. All right? Now realize that I'm making the shoe so it can come apart, and I realized that in the design, I need a gap. I need a space in this design. So I realized when I was making this that the heel's a perfect part. So this, I have this originally touching, but let's put this and make this a gap because I need to make this as a piece that slips on. So I realized in my design, I'm going to put a line right here. This is going to be a gap. And I'm going to do this gap intentionally. So by putting this gap, I'm going to kind of round off this corner here, and I'm going to round off this corner here. I got my gap, both sides properly measured. I'm going to take this X-Acto blade, and I'm going to cut the bottom edge, because there's a rubber sole under here, so it's okay to kind of push on that, because I'm not going to really screw this up on the rubber sole. All right. Now, I know first under here is solid rubber, so I'm going to go ahead and take this advantage and cut this right here on this line. That's my first part. You can just very gently just take your pattern and lift it off your shoe. And I'm going to use a pair of scissors to cut this up. This is going to be the gap, so cut this out. This lays flat, this is good, this lays flat, this lays flat, this lays flat. These guys all lay flat. This As you can see right here on the curve, for me, I can kind of see where it needs to be cut. So in order to break this and get the curve to be right, I have to definitely do this in 2 pieces. So now I'm looking at it, this kind of shows me the curve, where it needs to be cut. Now, since this shoe, the top, I have it in 2 pieces. So I have to do top, right, and this is going to be also, again, obsessive with the labeling. Top right, and this is top right number 1, and top right number 2. And again, before I cut them, I do my registration marks here. And so in order to get this top of the shoe to lay flat, I had to cut this in 2 pieces. And again, when I was doing this, as sassy as I was, I didn't see it until I had it into a pattern. So again, this would not work until I was able to lay it flat. So the best way to lay things flat sometimes is to make it to another part. All right, I went ahead and got everything all cut out. Now the part's laid flat. There's one thing I know. If I'm going to transfer this onto foam, I want to be able to make sure these all lay flat. So I got them all flattened out. Now, the painstaking part I have to do is take my X-Acto blade, and the duct tape patterns, I have to cut all my registration marks. I have my Sharpie, mark right here. I take it, cut like a triangle just above it. This and that. What I like to do is I have my foam floor mat, my poster board, and I take the duct tape patterns that I have, I'm going to transfer them onto poster board. And that's what's so cool. That's why when you put the poster board over the floor mat, it allows you to pin them down. The reason I pin them down is because you want to make these patterns, when you trace this onto poster board, as accurate as humanly possible. So by doing that, you have to pin them down flat. To even make it more accurate, sometimes I take a fine felt tip and just trace the edge. Now, when removing this duct tape pattern, the next step is to transfer the information you have on the duct tape onto your paper pattern. So this is top. So I know that for a fact, there's right here, top. So anything with labeling, you just transfer it and do this every time you do a pattern. Now, this is the toe piece, and realizing how big this is, that's kind of a pain for foam. Like, you could make this one piece, but you ask yourself, is that really necessary? So what I like to do is just to make this easier to transfer, I just cut this and make it just into different parts. All right, Brian, the patterns are all traced out. I'm going to take an X-Acto blade. Now, again, some of these lines are a little bit wiggly, and that's what I do when I cut them out. I kind of use the X-Acto blade and kind of clean up my lines as I'm cutting, because I know some of the stuff is not really the wiggliness is from the duct tape patterns. I just kind of clean things up when I cut. So that's how I go about solving that problem. All right, now all the poster board patterns have been cut out. The next thing I do is I have to do notches. I have little triangle marks for my notches. This is where I got a notch cutter. You want to know where to get one of these? Check out the link below. It's so much easier. You just line up your notch like this. Boom, done. Look at that, super fast. TNT Cosplay foam. This is 6mm TNT Cosplay foam. You know I've been famous for pinning these things down and tracing them, but in this TNT Cosplay, I want to keep this foam as clean as possible, and sometimes the pinholes leave holes in it, so I'm just going to hold these down very gently and just trace them with a Sharpie, because I'll just be able to push on my poster board pattern very carefully. I got everything transferred to foam. I'm going to go and cut this out. I need my Crenshaw sharpener and my box cutter. Again, people who want to know where to get these, check out the links below. Cutting, see, just go like that. Now that my parts are cut, I'm going to do a little heat forming on these guys, give them a little more of a shape. Just what I do, I like to do that because it takes a little bit of the fight out of it. To do that, I like to put a board on my table so that'll absorb some of the heat so I don't warp my table. My trusty heat gun. So my next step is go ahead and start gluing. Apply the glue. Take a scrap piece of foam, thin it out. This is where you have to line them up. I like to start with the top edge And there's a lot of pushing and pulling. I can tell you this. Going very slowly. Push, pull. Once you get the edges lined up, you flip around these big gaps. You get back here and you just push them flush. Make sure they touch. Okay, I waited about 15 minutes. I think this is good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and heat this up. And I have these shoes standing by so I can try it out and kind of fit it. So let's go ahead and heat this up. So I'm going to curl this. Now again, I'm doing kind of one spot at a time because foam cools quickly. So I'm just going to do this one spot, curl it in. All right, I went ahead, took the heat gun and curled it. And this looks great. It's all dialed in. It's perfectly shaped. Got the heat, so look at that. Perfect. Put the heel on. Bang. This looks great. What we're going to do next, I know you're thinking, how's that going to stay on the shoe, Ted? Now we realize, again, this is going to be a removable piece that's going to go on the shoe. So what I'd like to do is I run a strap. There's basically two straps. We're going to have a strap that runs underneath the sole of the shoe, and then we have a strap on the sides on where the heel goes. And what we're doing is we use elastic, because when using elastic, this allows us to slip this thing off and put it back on. Because the whole purpose of making this is so you don't have to stick these or glue these permanently to your shoe. I find that I like to use an elastic strap on the bottom of the shoe. And I know people are thinking, but you're going to walk on this. It's going to damage this. You're going to be at cons. And cons have smooth floors and carpet. You're not going to walk any kind of rocky terrain. And this is strictly a cosplay costume. You're not going to go into combat with this. This is just made to look pretty. I'm going to make a Sharpie mark on the outside. Granted, we're going to glue this on the inside, but you like just to make the marks on the outside so you know where you're going to glue. Now that we plotted out the elastic for the bottom, I'm going to space out on the sides, I have some thicker elastic. Use that for to join these two together. So we'll mark that. So when I go to glue these on, I know that I can leave this. I'm going to leave this tape on, so I know exactly where it's going to end. But I'm not going to glue to the edge. I'm going to glue back here. But when I glue from behind, I know exactly where this is going to fall. So I have my edge. When I like to hot glue, I like to get a piece of scrap foam. That when I put hot glue on the inside, I put my fabric on there. I want to push it on. I like to push it down so it really sticks well. And so you have a piece of foam, so you're not burn myself. I got that. Put my elastic on it. Like so, very gingerly, and take my piece of foam and push. All right, now this is properly cooled off. What I like to do is go back in and just coat a little bit more hot glue on the seam on the outside of it. I know for a fact this is going to go back here. Again, I'm not going to glue right up to the edge. I'm only going to glue in the back of here. So to show you, for an example, I'm only going to do like about an inch of hot glue because I want the elastic to still be able to stretch. Because I don't want the elastic to stretch from here to here. I want to be able to stretch all on the back. So as you slip the shoe in like this, and now you take your heel with the elastic strap, you kind of pull it back over the shoe, and that's really you need the elastic to stretch, to give. And it comes down, and there it is. Boom. Now you have this already on the shoe. What you do is this is all on. You just take the shoe, you unlace, unzip, like this, and she'll be able to slip her foot into it. And the cool thing with the elastic is that there's enough give that she can get this on her. That when she goes to put her foot in, you can take the elastic strap and pull back a little bit to get the tension. She'll slip her foot in. Boom, you're done. You reach under here, you zip it back up, and she's in. And therefore, you just leave these guys on. So you want to put these on the shoes first. Then slip your feet into them, put your shin guards in the. But that is virtually the boot cover. That's how it works. Well, everybody, this is the shoe, the boot cover. It's all complete. And again, this is cosmetic. You dress these shoes. You can get the most comfortable pair of shoes you want to do for a cosplay, and you don't have to trash them. You don't have to glue these foam pieces on your shoes. You can make removable boot and shoe covers. Again, got a boot. This works great. Make your strap. Take the toe, like so, stick it underneath, pull the strap underneath the sole, like that, and you take the elastic part where the heel is, you pull over the shoe. Bang, there it is. A shoe cover, instant cosplay shoe cover. And it's super cool because it is removable. You can decorate it. Again, like I say, normally I would do all the strapping after it's already sealed, but this is great. Just want to show you guys the technique. So when next time you guys are making shoe covers, now you know how to go about doing it without sticking them on your shoes. Now, if you want to do something more durable, if you guys are into LARPing or doing stuff outdoors, then I'd highly recommend buying a pair of shoes and sticking foam to them. But if you're just going to be on a con floor where there's carpet and smooth flooring, you guys can walk around, it's just strictly a cosmetic thing, and you want some comfortable shoes, or you have a really nice pair of boots you would like to use for the costume, but you don't want to ruin them, boom, boot covers. Hey everybody, that pretty much wraps up this video. I want to say thank you all for watching me here on twitch.tv/EvilTedSmith. If you guys are catching this video on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. As a matter of fact, I do this live every Monday and Tuesdays on Twitch TV. I do it from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And also I stream on Thursdays from stream from noon to 2 p.m. on Thursdays. Again, everybody, go to my website, eviltedsmith.com, and get on my mailing list. While you're there, go through my store. I have numerous patterns. And if you guys are new to cosplay and want what you want to buy and what you're going to need, I have a complete supply list. If you shop to the links, you buy the patterns, you tell your friends about the videos, you subscribe, helps me keep making videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you back next time right here on Evil Ted Live.